Hi everyone, this is Shelly with Shelly's Images, and today I thought I would show you just a fun little video on how the digital images are made that come to you in our store. We've had a couple of questions from our friends about kind of what the process is, not all of the intimate details of it, but just a small overview, so that's what I'm going to try to give you today. All of the images that I do start out with a pencil sketch. And basically that's just because I enjoy the pencil sketch process. That's the fun part for me. And so I take my sketch pad out onto the deck or into the living room while the family's watching TV, and I sketch away and create some of the drawings that end up being digitized and end up at our shop. Like any other artist, I think about half of the sketches that I do never come out of the sketchbook. They just stay there forever, and you know, sometimes you go back through and make changes and tweak them again until you love them. But I love the sketching process, and so this is how I start out. The next tool that I'm going to show you, what's hopefully showing on the screen here, I'm going to take a look at my camera just to be sure. This is the Wacom Cintiq tool. It's a graphics tablet, and this is actually my Christmas present this year from my husband, which was a huge surprise. I'm so excited. The graphics tablet that I was using before was the Wacom Bamboo tablet, and I loved it too. The difference, the big difference, is that on the Bamboo tablet you have your tablet kind of down on your desk, and you look at the image and the drawing that you're doing up on the screen. So with this, I can import the images that I've scanned. So I've taken my pencil sketch and scanned it, and now you see that in a layer. Hopefully you can see it on the camera. It's in a layer now on the Cintiq. And the great thing, I use Photoshop Elements to do my drawing, and one of the great things about drawing in a lot of these programs is that you can have different pages. So in the program they're called layers, and you can draw on different layers, and it allows you just a whole bunch more design opportunities when you can make the different layers. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that as we go along too. For the Easter Bunny image that I have on the screen now, I realized as I was drawing it that maybe my daffodils were a little bit too large, and maybe my basket was a little bit too small. In fact, I was on the phone with my honorary sister Min this morning, and I was drawing away while I was talking to her, and told her while I was on the phone that I wondered if maybe I had messed up a little bit, and if I should have drawn a little bit different. But the great thing about this program is that I don't have to erase this and start all over, since I had some of the details and I had it kind of lined out the way I liked it. I can actually go into the program, cut out little pieces of it, and resize them. And so here you'll see, if I turn on this resize, hopefully you can see that on the video, a little piece shows up that shows the flowers now smaller. So I just pasted them into a different layer, and now I have them a little bit smaller. I also have the basket a little bit larger. And let me go down here so that you can see that. If I turn the larger basket off, you can see it's kind of smaller there, and here's the new size of the basket. So that's an awesome thing about the program. I can also draw a flower, cut it out, copy, paste it, and flip it a little bit, and then I can add more flowers to the bouquet if I choose to do that later. So I'm ready to do a little bit of drawing for you. I'm not going to do a whole bunch and bore you with drawing, but basically I can draw right on the screen. So I'm going to blow up one of his ears here and move it over so that you can see it. I actually have it set right now so that there is a, it draws by pen tip pressure, and I want to move it to my bunny here so that you can see. Let me move to an area, since I already had this layer started. you can see how with the Cintiq I can draw right on the screen, and if I don't like something that I do, I just hit the undo button and do it over again. When I first started doing the digital stamps, I started out with just the images and sketched them out just like I showed you, and then I would use a light box to trace them with pins. And so, you know, you would get almost all the way done with an image and slip or do something that you didn't like and have to trash that and start all over again. So it's interesting that that was only a couple of years ago, but I've sure come a long way with the Cintiq and how I'm doing the images now. So I'm going to zoom that out so you can kind of see what I've done there. Generally, as I'm going through, I will kind of just do a regular, just kind of a loose outline, and then I'll come in and darken some areas and you know, straighten some lines toward the end. Another interesting fact about the images that I do, and it's not always possible, but I know that quite a few of our crafters that use our images actually do digital coloring for their images. And when you do digital coloring, it's real important that all of the areas are actually closed, that one line meets and touches the other to close off that area. And so when I'm drawing, I try to keep that in mind and make sure that I close off all of the areas as I'm drawing, so that it's easier for our friends that are doing the digital coloring on the images. So generally with things, animals and people and things like that, I draw with the pen pressure on like that, so that I can kind of control the how bold or how fine the lines are as I'm drawing. When I go to things that are man-made, like for instance this basket, I like to change it to just a regular flat line, so it doesn't matter how I draw, it's always going to be the same thickness of line. And so I'm going to show you a little bit on the basket here, some of the things that the program allows me to do, which are just really, really nice as far as the layers and how that works. So I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call it the basket layer. I'm going to reach over to my keypad here, my keyboard, and type basket. And I'm going to make all of the lines that go one direction on the basket. To do this, sorry, I'm on my little splat mat, which doesn't help me here. I can hit the shift key and touch with my pen and touch again, and it creates a nice line for me. To make a whole new line so it doesn't connect, I hit the pen button, shift and click, and I've got a line. And so this is a real handy way to make lots of straight lines and not have to get out the ruler or use the built-in grid that's here on the screen. So I'm quickly going to pop in a bunch of these. I don't like that one. I'm going to get rid of that one and try that one more time. And the last one, going that direction. Now I can make a new layer, and I'm going to call this one Basket 2. And now I can start making the lines going the other way, and you'll start to see how that makes a difference in how we're going to make these look like they are all weaved together. So for this one, these lines are going to go underneath. I can click this little select tool, and I want to make it look like this piece goes underneath. So I'm going to erase the parts of it that go this way. Now the great thing about having the layers that I just showed you before is that this line I can't erase. It's on a whole different layer. I can only erase the lines that were showing on the layer that I click. So I can click this line. Now this line is the one I'm going to want to get rid of. I can click that, click my eraser tool, and get rid of this line to make it look like this piece goes over. And then on this one, it's this line that I want to get rid of. And so by clicking that little selection tool, I don't have to guess which one is the right one. I can click it and it automatically changes to that layer so that I can erase that piece. So that's just a little blurb about that fun tool and how you can do things with the different layers. I'm going to choose the eye here and show you just a little bit about how I can blend. On some of the images you can see how some of the areas are kind of blended, and so I'm going to do that here with the eye just to kind of smooth it out and give it a more lifelike appearance. And this is how I do all of the eyes that I do on the Shelly's images. And the interesting thing, when you get rid of the pencil drawing and you open your image up into an actual file, some of these areas appear darker on the actual file than they did when you were working with them in here. So I try to keep that in mind as I'm going through. But there I've turned off the pencil drawing part of it so that now you can see just the let me turn back on my pressure pen. Now you can see just the actual digital part of the image that I've drawn and how that's going to look when it comes to you on your new digi stamp. So obviously I've got lots of work to do to make this image all done and all ready to come to you, but I hope that you've enjoyed. Still trying to get used to my little zoom in, zoom out button. I hope you've enjoyed the little bit that I've showed you here on how the digital images are created. There's so much detail work that goes into the finishing of these images, and it just takes hours and hours to get them created and perfect and ready to come to you. So I know that when you all create with them, you're spending your time to create wonderful things for your family and friends, and hopefully the Shelly's Images Digis get to be a small part of those projects that you're making. So I hope you've enjoyed the little video, not really a tutorial, but just a little taste of what I do when I'm creating the digital images. And be watching for Easter Bunny. He'll be at the store soon, and Easter Bunny will even have a cute little house to go with him that I hope people will use the two images together on some project. So until I see you again on the next tutorial,